Okay, so today we are going to be going over making a chart, and we're going to be using PowerPoint, Microsoft PowerPoint, using the Office Timeline free add-on that we've downloaded. And when you install it, it automatically puts it on this top banner of your PowerPoint. And so this is just the blank, typical PowerPoint page. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to Office Timeline Free, and then that's going to get us to this page with a bunch of different, it changed everything up here. So we're going to go to New, and this comes up with a bunch of different options of things, of different charts we could use. Notice this says Plus Edition, this says Plus Edition. So these aren't ones we can use, they are not ones we can use, because we don't have the Plus Edition, which I'm sure you just have to pay for. But for this instance, we're going to use Metro, because it's the best looking free chart. So that being said, we're not going to worry about any of this stuff yet. So we have Metro highlighted, so we're just going to hit the green finish right here. And that's going to bring up this. Looks kind of pathetic right now, but that's just because it's the start of it and we haven't input any tasks yet, so it doesn't look full. And what we're going to do here before we start inputting tasks is we have to change a couple settings about our chart. So up here there's something called timeline position. Notice it's on middle right now, so this is in the middle of the page, but we don't want that. So we're going to go lower. And now it just recessed this a little bit lower, which is what we want. And then the next thing is, as you can see, all these lit up now with different options on this bar. And the next thing we're going to do is there's a style button right here. So we're going to hit style, and then this pops up. And what this gets you is just, different ways you can set everything up. Notice a lot of these have pluses, little red pluses, which obviously, as we learned when we click this template, the plus feature is just an extra that costs more. And so there's general, milestones, tasks, and scale. We're going to want to be on tasks because we're not going to do anything else in any of these other ones. And we're going to scroll down to connector. This is something we can change. Right now you can see, so this is vertical and that's horizontal. So what we're going to change on here is right now it's vertical hide and horizontal thin. We are actually going to want the opposite of that. So we're going to want to put vertical thin and horizontal hide. So I guess just the standard format is to have it how it just was, but we're going to change that and just basically switch those. And now that we have that done, we hit our green finish. And you can't really see what that did right now, just because we don't have anything in here, but you will in a little bit. So now we can start inputting tasks. We were just at the style button up here, but if you go over a couple, there's just something called task, where we're going to input our actual data. So we're going to go to tasks, and here you have a title, start date, end date, duration, and some other things. So we're going to click here to add task. This comes up blue, and every task we add will show a different color. So our first one is going to be demo and grade. Demo grade. And now on this one, this just has generic start and end dates that it tries to guess, which just isn't correct right now. So we're going to change this to April 3rd. And important thing to notice is every time you hit these calendars, it might come up on the month you want or it might not. So this one's February, so we have to go over to April 3rd. And the end date, see, this one put us back in February, but we need to just scroll over to April, and this is going to be April 6th. Now we've put those two in, there's something called the duration, and what the duration is it calculates the difference between these two, so how many days it'll be. Just so when you have dates that are further, I could tell that right there is 3, but, for larger dates, it just comes in handy. So we're going to hit this, or 4, and this duration will automatically fill it in once you hit duration. And our next task we're going to add is going to be foundation. And this just automatically puts dates in here again, which some are correct and some are not. This one actually is correct, 4/7. We're going to do that. It's just the date after that last end date. But this has 4/14 in here, and that's not correct. So it took us in April. We're going to want May. So if I just clicked one here, that actually would have been April, but we have to make sure that we're in the correct month. So May 1st, we changed that. And notice this is 8 days. It filled it in with 8 days, but the thing is, 4/7 to 5/1 is not 8 days. So this thing doesn't update but just because you change these two. You actually have to click in here, and then it'll calculate the difference between these two. So that's actually 25 days. And see, if you were just if you wanted to input these manually, you'd have to kind of think a little hard about how many days it is from 4/07 to 5/1, without looking at a calendar. That's just kind of time consuming. So this does it automatically. And we're going to input another one, plumbing. And I'm going to abbreviate these right now, just for a reason that I'm going to show you in a little bit. And this date is not correct either. Once again, it just takes the next day, just standard. So we're in May, but the date we're going to want is actually April 10th. So we have to go back a month and hit 10. And this is going to end the 13th. 5/13. And notice this is 30 days, but it hasn't been updated yet because 4/10 to 5/13 is actually 34 days if we click that. So that's an important thing to remember with this part of inputting our data, is that you have to make sure you're in the correct month and not just whatever month it puts you in automatically. And you have to remember to click in the duration so it recalibrates the correct difference between what we're doing. And so that's this right now. We have a lot more that we're going to be inputting, but for this part, I'm going to show you guys what this all looks like filled in already. So we're going to click this off. So don't mind that right now, but so this is what it looks like when it's fully completed. See, we had the demo and the foundation, the plumbing, electrical, underground. And I only input these three, but I ended up inputting all these other ones for framing, lumber, roof felt, rough plumbing, with all the correct dates and all the durations are correct. So what we would do here is, if I had continued where I left off, you would have seen me inputting all these. And what we're going to do now that our whole list is complete and everything is correct, we just hit the check mark. And then this is what pops up, is the whole document of it now, all laid out nice, because we changed our settings so it looks a certain way. We see demo grade, foundation, plumbing, electrical, and everything is on here. This shows, the week view and kind of each phase and roughly how long it takes, and an easy way to view. And the reason we abbreviated some of this stuff is because if I had written out plumbing, electrical, underground all in one word, it probably would have gone to about here, and that would have gotten in the way of showing where this block of color is, and it just looks messier. So some of these, since they're further out, this title can be a lot longer if we needed it to, because the bar doesn't show up until here. But at the start, you kind of have to make the words a little smaller and things like that, just so that way they don't run into the bars and it looks a little messier if it's that way. So we abbreviated plumbing and electric just for that reason, and everything else looks fine. But say you made a mistake on here and you needed to change something, what we would do is we would just simply go back to task, and it brings up everything. So we could change, if we could change this thing if we wanted to. We could change the dates on here if we realized we messed up for some reason. And then all we would do is just hit finish. And then it'll readjust it. And recalibrate it. And that is how we do this. From here on, we would save it as a document, we would go save as and do that thing, which I've already saved this one. And then now we can just print it out. And this is our current, schedule as of today. But, things could change. And yeah, that's how we make a Office Timeline free chart with the Metro setting.